This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
You want to be in my gang?
My gang?
My gang?
You want to be in my gang?
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the Horror Fried Podcast. That is Michael Combs.
That's Mike Martin over there.
And that's Keith Clanton.
Hello, how's your mama, Nam? Thanks for joining us today. We're reviewing the final film in our Southern Horror series. The full list of movies that we reviewed this season are on Instagram still at the Horror Fried Podcast, so be sure to check those out. If you want to watch along with us, you're a little fucking late, but you can catch up. So come sit a spell as we talk about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Released in 2022, Texas Chainsaw Massacre follows our friend Leatherface, who after 48 years of hiding, returns to terrorize a group of idealistic young friends, aka assholes, who accidentally disrupt his carefully shielded world in a remote Texas town. Based on characters created by Toby Hooper and Cam Hinkle and directed by David Blue Garcia, Texas Chainsaw Massacre stars Elsie Fisher, Sarah Yarkin, Mo Dunford, and Mark Burnham as Leatherface, the man himself. Michael.
Yes.
Kick us off.
So we have a young group of entrepreneurs who go to the ghost town of Harlow, Texas to auction off the properties to create a gentrified community. While inspecting the orphanage, they discover an elderly lady is still living there with her son. They accuse her of squatting. She gets upset over this and gets sick. The sheriff takes her son, his deputy, and one of the entrepreneurs to the hospital. Along the way, the lady dies, and we find out her son is Leatherface. A crash and many deaths ensue. A couple deaths ensue.
Yeah.
So, I guess to start, I hated these characters.
Oh, they were awful.
Oh, you didn't like him?
And I'll touch on some of these opinions later as well, but when I tell you I literally could not stand Mel, I couldn't stand her.
I agree with you 100%. The characters are not likable at all. At all. There's no redeeming qualities. You've got the younger sister who has obviously gone through some trauma of her own that they very briefly discuss, but then really has nothing to do with the rest of the story. So I think that was a missed opportunity. Like, why even
bring it up?
Why even bring that up?
Right. Why are we going to show us that brief, 5-second clip of her laying on the floor of the school or whatever?
Yes.
I have issues with and I feel like this is one of those things that we just kind of are showing our age a little bit with it, because these newer movies that shove all of this modern things in your face, I'm not really a fan of.
No.
I get it, it's 2022, but I don't need you to show me but yeah, that was my takeaway in general with these characters.
Well, a lot of these movies now are trying really hard to be woke.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just feel like this was a movie that didn't necessarily need a lot of some of it is fine, but I feel like a lot of it was unnecessary.
You've already got the groundwork put out out there for you.
Well, yeah, that's my... here... Okay. So let's just... So you got these kids, right? They're going to try to gentrify
this ghost town.
Is that what it's called?
Harlow.
Number one, I can understand why Leatherface went apeshit, because this gentrification shit is all over Nashville, and you have these older people that are being kicked out of their neighborhoods essentially because they can't afford property taxes. So I get it.
Yeah.
So that part I like. Okay. But then you get to the town, and the town is very cute. It's almost too cute. It looks like the back lot of a movie studio. Like, it's almost too perfect, so I'm not really buying that this is really...
A ghost town?
You know, with 2 cops, an old lady, and Richter. Like, that's literally the only people...
It honestly reminded me of the House of Wax.
Yes, it looked like a fake town.
And that church that was at the end of the street was like House of Wax.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of...
That's a really good point. And, you know, I get it. They're into these investors. They're bringing these investors... And I don't really know what they're trying to do. I know at one point they talk about Ruth. The girlfriend's name is Ruth. I looked it up because I was just girlfriend. I don't know what her name is.
Well, no lie. On the subtitles, it literally says Dante's partner.
Okay.
Oh, does it?
So, like, yeah, I didn't know it either until I looked it up.
Well, it's Ruth. And she's talking about an art gallery. Think of an art gallery over here and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, this is a great idea, but you are in Harlow, Texas. Nobody lives here. You're bringing a bus of investors to invest, not to live there. Who's going to move to... Who's moving here?
Bumfuck, Texas? Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. You know? And they talk about wanting to splash some paint on it. Oh, I think it's so cute as is. Yeah, it is. Leave it alone and get the fuck out. Go back to... I don't know, L.A. or wherever. Oh, and let me just point this out now because it was something I continue to notice throughout the movie. Melanie, while I hate her character, I think is a very striking young lady. I think she's very pretty. I like her eyebrows. They're kind of big, but like it all works for her. I think she's a very pretty girl. The makeup, just the normal makeup, not the gore, but just the normal makeup is terrible. Terrible. I don't know if y'all watch Hoarders, okay, but Michael and I are big fans of Hoarders.
We are.
And if you know who Robin
Robin
Zazio,
Dr. Zazio
is, she's a what is she? A clinical psychiatrist
that's specializing
in OCD
and hoarding. Yes.
Okay, so she's our favorite doctor, but you gotta think Hoarders is like early 2000s, so they hadn't quite mastered how to blend their makeup. So her face is always a different color as her neck.
Yeah.
All of the characters in this movie, same thing. I'm like, were y'all eating Cheetos on break and just wiped the shit on your face? Or what was going on? The makeup is horrible.
Everything was horrible, I feel like.
Well, okay.
Most things.
I mean, I feel like I would be getting ahead of myself if I started just like throwing out like because some of the stuff that I had like strong opinions about wasn't necessarily part of this like first
act
part of it. Yeah, because
fair.
Trying to like keep us on track a little bit. Like, first of all, as soon as Richter pulled up in that truck, I literally was like, oh, is he gonna be like on my horrified hunks? I thought he was very fine.
Richter is good. Look, he's a good-looking country boy. There's plenty of them in every small town you visit. He just happens to be one of 4 people that live in Harlow, so that's it for you. But as the story continues, and again, like you said, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but he really ends up being
a good guy.
One of the only characters that I gave a shit about.
Yeah. Exactly. And I was trying to, so like, obviously we have we know from the beginning Sally is still
alive. There was a docuseries made about her.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this, because there's not really. It's just a lot of chatter, pretty much, until they show up to the town and go into the orphanage, right? That's inhabited by the little old lady. I feel like the movie portrayed her to be a very old woman. I did not get that vibe at all. I said this.
Sally.
No. The woman that runs the orphanage. Okay. I said, this looks like a woman.
Jenny.
It's in her early 60s. What's her name?
Jenny.
Okay.
Yeah.
In her early 60s, that looks like she has had one too many trips to see her plastic surgeon.
I thought the same thing.
Because that face was snatched.
It was. You know who that is, right?
No.
What? From one of your favorite movies, Sleepwalkers.
She's
the mom.
That's the mom from
really?
Sleepwalkers, yeah.
Well, no one. Well, here's the thing. She doesn't look, you think you're going to see some decrepit old lady. And I was
not.
This is just a 60-year-old woman with a lot of work without any makeup on. Like, there's nothing really old about this lady.
And this was almost 50 years later, she should be really old if this was Leatherface's
if he's
mother.
been living in this orphanage for 48
Right.
years and he's calling her mama, I guess, essentially.
Yeah.
I mean, they look like they could be...
Close in age?
Yeah, she doesn't look... Oh, I don't know. I was just...
She doesn't. I'm with you. She did look like she had been to the plastic surgeon one too many times.
I do appreciate her offering
Sweet tea.
When she says, y'all want some sweet tea, I did appreciate that. Southern hospitality, that's what you do when people come into your house, even if they come in without knocking.
I kind of liked her character, though. She was trying to protect everyone. She
was.
She knew her son was going to
and then,
go
of
off the
course,
rails.
You find out later that she still had the deed. Like, they hadn't sold that property, so they essentially kicked her out of her house.
Yeah.
And then the poor thing had a heart attack.
And died.
Which
needlessly
causes our boy
to go
crazy, right? So that's pretty much where you left off in Act 1. You know, you have Leatherface going to the hospital. Where the fuck is the hospital, by the way?
Right, it had to be
2 hours away.
I mean,
I was going to say, it has to be
Dallas. Like, where are they
Austin.
going?
It has to be in another town over.
Yeah.
Obviously, all of Harlow's in this one scene.
Yeah, there's nothing else there. It's like a snow globe. It's literally its own little thing, and that's it. But Ruth decides to go because you got the investor.
She has a little bit of a heart. No, I think I think she felt bad for the mom, and that's why she wanted to go.
Now, I will say, out of the your main 4 characters, she's probably the less annoying. Although Dante wasn't that bad. It was just the sisters. Like, god damn. Terrible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, so poor thing. They have their wreck or whatever because doesn't Leatherface break the paramedic's hand in the back?
No,
and then
the
stab
sheriff's
him with
deputy.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he breaks his arm.
And then
Virginia
stabs him
dies.
with it, right?
Virginia dies. People.
Yeah.
On the way to the hospital, and then you can continue.
Oh well, yeah. She dies, and then he breaks the sheriff's deputy or
And
whoever.
Stabs him right in
I
the
guess
neck.
in a small town, sheriff's deputy, paramedic, fucking gas station owner. I don't
Jack
know.
of all trades.
They
Jack
say
of all
that
trades.
though when Mel says something about she's like when Jenny starts throwing up and she's like, "Oh my god, we need to call an ambulance," and the sheriff's like, "I am the ambulance."
He did say
Oh.
that. You're
So,
right.
I missed
mean,
that. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So then I guess I don't remember exactly how he attacks the driver.
He doesn't. The sheriff's deputy, when he's dying, accidentally discharges
Shoots
his
him.
gun and shoots the
Oh.
sheriff. And then
Okay.
that causes the crash into the combine.
Yeah. And so then you've got Ruth in there. Okay. If you're going to pretend to be dead, I'm going to need you to shut the fuck up.
Pretend to be dead.
And I'm going to need you to, sit still.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't being
I also
subtle
don't
about it.
understand why she tried to go out the driver's side window.
Oh my god.
When
not
you
her,
could clearly
right?
Yeah, I don't get that at all.
I thought the same thing. I was like, you just saw him drag that body to that side of the car.
Yeah.
Why are you I mean, I know that she was stuck because she tried to do the handle and it was stuck.
But roll down the window. I don't something.
There's something.
Yeah.
I just felt like her going out the driver's side over a body, a broken glass everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
because she's clearly been hurt too. Like,
right.
It's not. Well, and the thing is, again, if you would have just pretended to be dead, you may have been okay, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously you sat there when he killed the dude and he didn't pay attention.
I literally would have probably just forced myself to stay there until I knew, because afterward, obviously, Leatherface gets her, but he leaves not too long
Yeah,
after
goes back
that.
to Harlow.
So it's not like he was hanging around.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to camp out there for the night. You could have probably gotten away. So I did make a note, though, because obviously Leatherface takes Jenny and he skins her, and that's whose face he's wearing, right? I was like, well, if you're going to take somebody's face, take the snatched bitch's face, because no wrinkles. None.
Oh.
You don't need a stitch of makeup.
Yeah.
Side note, did you see when, I guess it's kind of one of the opening scenes when they're driving right before the sheriff's pull them over in the beginning or whatever. Did you notice that Harlow sign was population of 1,974?
I did notice it was a small amount.
1974.
Oh.
So it was paying homage to the...
I did not notice that. I know it's a small amount.
I mean, you guys, I watched this the weekend it premiered, and it's been a hot minute, right?
It's been February is when it came out.
February? Okay,
Yeah.
so it's been since February since I watched it. And when I watched it last night, I was doing other things, so I wasn't... I'd already watched it, but I needed a refresher. You know what I'm saying? So I missed a lot of that stuff. But yeah, that's a cool little
Easter
tidbit.
egg.
Yeah, a
I
little
love
Easter
an
egg.
Easter egg.
I also felt like that scene in the bus where obviously Leatherface, I did like when the sheriff, because everything's kind of chaotic in that moment with his mom dying and stuff.
Yes, it is.
But I did love when the sheriff grabbed him and everything went completely quiet, and then it was okay, this is the switch. This is when shit's about to go crazy.
Yeah.
And it does.
It does.
But that scene very much reminded me almost of a mix of this last Halloween with Michael and the double kill with the shoot, the gun out in the park.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That whole
Yes.
thing. And then a mix of that with what was it? Is it Freddy versus Jason? Where they've got Jason in the back of the
van?
Yes.
Yeah.
van, and
He's
he's
asleep.
quote unquote asleep. Yeah.
Well, they've drugged him or something. Yeah.
That was what I kind of got a mix of those things. But I mean, I liked the kills and
That was a really cool kill.
in that scene.
Yeah.
Of this.
Well, the gore is pretty good in this movie.
They didn't hold back.
Yeah, they don't hold back, and I feel like, some of it is CGI, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But the earlier ones, I thought were really good. And I also like the scene of him in the field where it shows the field, and then he stands up, and you see him, and it's like peekaboo. I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much, I think that kind of, wraps up the first act if we want to go into the second.
It does. So we go back to Harlow. Richter accuses the entrepreneurs of not owning the orphanage, and they go back in to find the property deed. They find the deed that shows that the elderly lady owns the property. Leatherface shows up and attacks them. He breaks into a bedroom wall and pulls out his chainsaw. The group that is there for the auction all go hide on the bus. The bus starts to leave, but is attacked by Leatherface. The Gen Zers and Millennials do what you would expect, and the movie becomes the Chainsaw Bus Massacre.
Yeah, it kind of becomes a parody.
Yeah.
Honestly. Have we been introduced to Sally yet at this point?
Someone had called her.
Yeah.
But she
The
come in
gas
yet.
station attendant called her because he overheard Ruth
on the radio.
trying to call help
Yeah.
on the CB radio.
Because my whole thing is when it shows Sally for the first time, she's butchering a pig,
Yeah.
which I think is funny considering.
What happened in that first one?
But I really liked. I thought the woman that played Sally. Obviously, we lost Marilyn Burns a few years ago. R.I.P. I would have loved to have seen her come back and reprise her role. But I did think this lady. A lot of people hated it, but I didn't think she was that bad. I thought she looked like Sally. If you look at the first movie and then you think, okay,
48 years.
what is
Yeah.
she going to look like? I would totally believe that is her.
Mm-hmm.
I think she looks badass. She's got her jeans on, her cowboy hat.
I mean, it's very
little tank top. I love her turquoise jewelry. When I saw her, I said,
Yeah.
okay, I like this Sally. I'm good. I'm okay with it.
I liked her too, and I think that
And they obviously do her dirty later on. We can talk about that later. But
she's hardened. She's pissed off, and
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
and she's ready.
She's
like, oh yeah, I'm
50
there.
years.
If you guys didn't notice, we're recording in downtown Detroit today. So,
downtown Harlow.
yeah,
Yes.
downtown Harlow, live from the community center. Yeah,
I mean, it's very reminiscent of
Halloween.
these last Halloween
Yeah.
movies, where we see a much older Laurie Strode that's badass and ready to kill fucking him finally.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. So of course, once they're back in the town, who's the first one to get it? It's Dante, right?
Dante.
When they're in the house.
He gets a cleaver.
He does get
to
a
the
cleaver.
neck.
A lot of people really liked that scene because you have the swinging door, and it's kind of like reminiscent of the first movie a little bit because you've got the the door.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, okay, whatever. I thought it was too easy, to be honest. I didn't love his kill.
I just was hoping it was going to be Melody.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Like, can we just... can we just kill her off first?
I know, the worst. And so, Melody, I guess, gets, what?
She's upstairs. She finds the deed.
At one point, she's upstairs. At one point, she's below the house. Like,
she's getting shit on.
Oh, God.
Oh, that's
gosh.
true. Okay, so yes. So she goes upstairs, and that's where, she's going to hide, and Leatherface goes into... It's Virginia's room, right?
Yes.
And doesn't he take... Does he take clothes out of the closet?
He takes some clothes.
She hides
something with makeup.
She hides in the closet, and then
eventually makes her way under the bed.
A dress, and he's like smelling it.
Oh, okay, because he misses her.
Yeah,
and it's kind of sad.
And then he like takes her makeup and kind of like starts putting it like on her face, essentially.
Yes,
that
he's wearing.
Obviously her. But yeah, so I mean, I honestly don't know how he didn't see her in the closet. Like it seemed very, like you're right there. But whatever, movie magic. And
I felt like this was his sick way of honoring her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest. It's hard not to feel bad for Leatherface. Like, in the other movies, like, he's just crazy. He's crazy. Obviously, he's, like, a product, I think, of his raising. Like, because his whole family is crazy. But in this movie, it's just him.
Yeah.
And Virginia. And Virginia
I feel like in this movie, they almost gave him a motive.
Oh, my
for
God,
sure.
yes.
The other one, he didn't. This
People are
one,
taking
he
over
did.
his town. I want it back.
And his mother died because of that.
And then
yes.
And I'm sure that he probably thought they're the reason that obviously she died.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, you have Richter that tries to come save the day. And then poor Richter.
That pissed me off. That death did piss me off.
I wasn't expecting it.
No.
Not until much later.
Was just annoyed. Like, I didn't want him to die.
I didn't either.
I wanted him to be like the one that kind of like not necessarily saves the day, but I did want him to like be there in the end. But like this, I was frustrated as fuck that they did it. And then all I kept thinking was, bitch, why as soon as you saw that Richter was like distracting him, get out from under that motherfucking bed.
Yeah, run.
Like
Yeah, I'm
go.
with you
Why
there.
are you
Yeah,
just
what are you
sitting
waiting
there
on?
like
Yeah.
like said, can't stand her.
I wanted Richter's death though. Like I really thought, because we kind of skipped over this, but him and the younger sister have kind of a little moment, and they kind of, I don't want to say bond, but they have a little moment, and you realize that maybe he's not as small-minded as you think he is.
Yeah.
Like he's a good guy. So after that, I kind of thought he would make it until the end, maybe sacrifice himself. Like he would have a really good death, but he just literally got killed like anybody else. And I was like...
Brutally.
Oh.
Too.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
then it's like, who's supposed to root for? I don't like these other bitches.
Exactly.
And I think that, once again, I feel like this is kind of like being a product of just a different generation. I don't like all the, like, influencer stuff.
No, me
like,
neither.
No.
I just don't. And to make, like, a whole movie where your main characters are all basically, like, those types, I was like, I don't really care about any of that.
I got to post to Instagram today, so I don't miss my algorithm.
Don't even get me started on the bus.
Oh.
Like...
Yes, let's talk about the bus.
Yeah.
I think we should just say, which I already mentioned, that Leatherface then breaks into the wall and pulls out his chainsaw.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he finds his old
chainsaw,
toy, essentially. And that's when Melody... I don't know, he hits her or something. I thought he, like, gashed her pretty good, and then she just...
Oh no, he threw the sledgehammer at her.
And I literally, in my notes, have it there. I was like, there is no fucking way.
She survived that. That would have killed someone.
It looks like it almost looks like he slashed her or something with it. Like, it looked painful. And then she just rolls over and goes under the house.
It
knocks her into the crawl space.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're not going to fall through the fucking floor. You got hit with that much force, and you're just going to, like,
no,
maybe not dead.
Yeah,
but
you
just
knocked
roll
over.
over.
Yeah.
And, like, you didn't get the wind knocked out of you or
I
anything.
think it probably would have not. Like, I know my ass would have been knocked out.
Right. That's. I mean, literally, when it hit her, she, like, oof, like it
Yeah,
took her back
yeah.
and then through the floor.
Yeah,
there's no way
that's
that
true.
you would have rolled off from that.
Yeah.
But
And then
then that leads into the
Then
Well,
she gets
then-
shit all over
Yeah, he hits he like
the sewer pipe with his chainsaw.
yeah, and it literally shits. Probably the most gratifying scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Well, one of two. One of two. I
Melody
should say.
got shit on.
One of two. Okay, so the bus scene.
Then we go to the bus.
Did you like the bus? Because it is it's mayhem, is what it is.
oh my,
Oh God, it's a twister.
We're being
It's a
attacked.
twister.
I liked it because they're such idiots, and I was ready for everyone in that bus to die. The minute they pull out their phones and start
start
recording,
recording.
I'm like, you deserve to die.
Yes,
You're gonna
I-
get canceled, bro.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna die, so who cares?
I mean, obviously, Leatherface has no concept of any of that. But
No.
as
Yeah.
like I was watching, I was like, oh, just kill him.
Every one of them. Every one of them.
I kind of liked
It was
the main
fun.
black girl.
Catherine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
she was
kind
like
of
the
liked
main
her.
investor or
Yes,
something.
she was sweet.
she was really pretty.
Yeah,
Boy,
I liked
she got
her.
it rough too.
Oh.
She did.
Like literally sawed in half.
Yeah.
And you,
Well, could y'all not open up these windows? Because that one was open, right? So
Yeah.
I was thinking
The whole time they could have opened up the windows, but they're just screaming and yelling and falling over each
Banging
other.
on the
It was,
windows.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird.
I also
It was
didn't
weird.
understand. Like, don't most buses have those doors in the back?
Emergency
the
door?
doors.
Yeah.
So because the whole time
Even
I was
a party
like,
bus has those.
yeah, I was like, why are we not like? Sure, he's got you trapped on the front side, but
Go out the back. Yeah,
Right.
there's no. Yeah, that was. Yeah. And then when the sisters hide in the bathroom, first of all, how nobody acted alarmed when Melody came up on that bus smelling like shit is beyond me.
Right?
She just. I mean, yeah, I
Everyone
get
should have
it.
been thrown up.
It was raining, so yeah, whatever. You're still gonna smell.
It's still
like
gonna
shit.
permeate
And
everything. Yeah.
She just walks on there and they're just like partying and stuff. And I would have for real been like, oh my God, who smells like poo? Like, anyway, so then they go in the bathroom. I fucking hate the part when they're in the bathroom and the blood starts pouring in under the door like they're in an ocean
Yeah.
of blood. Like, that's not how that works. It's not just gonna seep in under the door like that. I don't care how many people you kill. Like, that's not believable at all. And then, of course, there's a fucking window for them to escape when really he could have just killed them and the movie could have ended. And I would have been like, all right, that's cool.
Yeah.
right, end with that big massacre
Yes.
and
But it doesn't. But, does that wrap up the second act?
Pretty much. We.
mean,
I
after
feel
the
like we
bus.
end
Look, here's the thing. This is a quick movie. It's only an hour and 23 minutes,
Yeah.
right?
right.
So
perfect length.
It was
Well,
a great
thank God.
length. I know.
Yes.
I couldn't have sat through much more. But you get just enough of, okay, here's the premise, and then it's boom, boom, boom. So that I did appreciate.
Yeah.
But it could have been a lot better. But anyways, continue.
So, our heroine survived the bus slaughter, and Sally Hardesty from the original movie shows up to kick some ass. Leatherface and her have a showdown, and Leatherface is victorious. Melody and Lila try and survive. Sally manages to shoot Leatherface. I put, how is she still alive? And gives her gun to Lila. She follows him into an abandoned building. Lila and Leatherface have a showdown. When you think Lila is down for the count, Melody shows up and attacks Leatherface, and he falls into a pool, presumably dead. The girls leave and get in a car. Leatherface shows up and pulls Melody out and cuts her head off.
Thank God.
We next see Leatherface make his way to the farm from the original movie.
Yes, so that's at the end of the credits, which I didn't watch the first time. But I almost like, it was kind of stupid. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a fan of Leatherface, you pretty much know where he's going to go next.
Right.
Like, I don't know that we needed to see that.
Well, I also don't know that we needed to see Sally die.
No, that was bullshit.
Can I tell you the very last note I wrote was they brought her back just to
kill
do
her.
her dirty like that. I'm done, and I didn't write any other notes after that.
Yeah. That was bullshit.
It was bullshit. She was good, and when she like shows up with her shotgun and she shoots him, and she's got that like devilish little laugh she does.
Yeah.
Oh, I was so for it. I was like, yes, kick his ass, bitch. This is what you waited for. He killed your brother, your invalid
friends.
brothers. He's described in the movie, and your friends, terrible friends, but your friends.
Her friends nonetheless.
Yeah. You know, like
And then she gets a chainsaw right through the
I
torso
was
and
not
pulled up
happy.
into the air.
I was not happy.
That was
And-
bullshit.
But like you said,
How did she
survived
live?
somehow long enough to be able to like
Shoot him some
have
more.
a moment with Lila.
Yeah. I mean,
But-
I was fine with that, but I'm like,
Not-
she'd be dead.
Okay, if she lived, then all those fuckers on the bus probably
Yeah.
lived. Like,
Well, I did like the moment she had where they're going to take off and she says, "Don't run if you're armed. He'll never stop hunting you."
Yeah.
Like, and she's telling him, like, this is not going to end unless you end it. So I did like that little scene, but
I mean-
R.I.P. Sally Hardesty.
what about the scene with Sally and him in the house? What'd you think? I was honestly more frustrated than I was anything, because I was just like, girl, this is your fucking moment. You literally got him right here. Your gun is there.
Oh, she did kind of freeze up.
She did, and
Yeah.
but it was weird because then
She wanted him to know who she was.
Remember her,
right,
and he
she wanted
didn't.
him to remember, and I guess when he didn't, she gets like kind of emotional about it, whatever. But I was still just like, just shoot the fucker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then he just gets up and he walks right past her like, you're not my target.
My target.
Yeah, you're not
so,
my deal right now.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. That kind of bugged me too. But I guess
That was frustrating. Yeah.
Because I mean, I guess as you know, you want her to have that moment.
She deserved that moment
She
after
did.
50
she did
years.
deserve to have that moment. And that's my thing. Like, if you're going to bring her back, a la Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween or Neve Campbell
In Scream.
in Scream 2022, like, do something with her. Like, you had a really good opportunity. Nobody that watched that movie that I know of cared about any of these characters, right? So let them die and let Sally live on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need another movie about Sally. I mean, if y'all are going to continue making them like the way you did this last one, then I don't want another one. But
Well, and I mean, not only did you bring her back, you brought back a completely different actress because Marilyn had passed. Just don't bring her back at all. Like, just have Sally not be.
yeah,
If you're
gonna
that's-
kill her
if
off,
that's the
yeah.
thing,
You've
don't
never.
even bring her back.
She's
Yeah.
never come back for any other movie. So you finally bring her back, and then this is what we get.
Yeah.
Like, it just seemed.
It would literally be like bringing. I don't want to say Halloween because obviously Halloween was a new trilogy, but you bring back like Neve and Scream 2022 and
killed
kill her
her.
off.
I'd been so
you would have
pissed.
pissed off the entire fan base.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know any. I don't personally know any people that like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like that's their favorite. Like, obviously there's a lot of people out there and it is their favorite, but I personally don't know of any. So I mean, if that's your thing, like, I would love to know y'all's thoughts on
Right.
bringing Sally back
Just to kill her off.
like, because for me, even though I'm not a huge fan, I've seen all of them and that pissed me off.
Yeah.
It really pissed me off. Yes, but yeah, the end was very satisfying. Oh my god, though. I'm sorry, I've got to mention this. They get in that fucking Tesla to drive off. Has this car not been there the whole goddamn time? So why are you just now getting in it to drive away? Because it wasn't an issue with keys.
No.
Nobody ever, it was just they got in the Tesla and drove off. So you mean to tell me that car, that fucking Tesla, goddamn it, Teslas, anyway, I could record a whole other podcast about what I think about Teslas, but anyway, you mean to tell me
You
that
could have
car
left
was
the whole
sitting
time.
there the entire time,
Yeah.
and you were like, you're running amok? Like, I don't understand. And if Lila, and I get maybe part of it, is her name Lila?
Yeah.
Maybe part of it was, I want to get my friends and get out of here, whatever, get my sister. Bitch.
She had
just
her sister, though.
Leave your sister.
But she had her sister, and they could have
Melody
left.
will be just fine. Like, I don't know, but that irritated the hell out of me when they got in that car to drive off. I was like, okay, wait.
Oh,
I've just
you
said-
mean for the car to drive them off?
Well,
Oh,
the
yes.
car to drive
Autopilot.
off.
telling
I
you,
was like,
that's what-
whatever.
That's what I'm talking about. I don't like stuff like that. Like,
Yes.
I didn't like that we had, let's make it a point to show Facebook Live or whatever it was where they're, like,
yes.
people are commenting and watching, whatever. And then,
The one guy's like, oh, it looks so fake. You
Yeah.
see that before he steps on the or walks over the camera.
Yeah.
And then of course, like the car thing at the end, I was like, I mean, how many things do we have to like throw in here to make people be like, oh, just in case you didn't know, this is like modern day.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah. Like, I don't like stuff like that.
It kind of reminded me of like the music videos in the 2000s when they would try to like product placement. Like you think of
Yeah.
music videos that would have like the Apple computers that were all the different colors.
Kelly
or, like,
Rowland on her Excel spreadsheet on her phone.
Yeah.
Yes.
On her
And Dilemma.
What was it called? The T-Mobile Sidekick.
Sidekick.
Like that's kind of what it reminded me of. You know, I don't know, y'all. Any trivia? Any good trivia?
I mean, not
Probably not a whole
not
lot
a
for
whole
this,
lot.
right?
I mean, there was the whole thing with the 1974
Yeah.
on the sign. But then I guess there was a little bit of stuff about how apparently during the development of Leatherface in 2017, the producers had the film rights and intention to make 5 more Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. And in April 2015, producer Krista Campbell stated that the fate of the potential sequels would obviously largely depend on how they were received, like the whatever that one was, Leatherface.
I'll tell you how they were received. Not well, bitch.
But then by December of 2017, Lionsgate and Millennium lost the film rights, and then they started to like do this one just to try to like, I guess, see, you know, I mean, obviously,
Maybe whet people's appetite.
well, I mean, obviously there's a fan base,
Yeah.
but for the most part, these are not my movies. So
Well, they're not mine either. And if they made another one as bad as this one was, I'd probably still watch it.
well, yeah,
But I
like
almost like, if you're going to make another Texas Chainsaw movie, you need to hire the people that did the remake and the beginning, because those two I actually really, really, really enjoy.
the only
I
one
love the
I
remake.
really like is the one with Jessica Biel.
Yeah, I love the
It's
remake.
a
So-
really good remake. That is a remake done right.
Yeah.
Yes.
In my opinion.
In your trivia, was this always supposed to go to Netflix? Or was this ever supposed to have a theatrical release?
It was. I don't.
I thought I remember hearing something about like the script was changed a lot.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
don't.
I was wondering if
sure.
because of COVID it went to Netflix versus going to
Could've.
theaters.
Well, I think it had something to do with all those like the big studios not wanting to like invest in it, so they let it go, and then Netflix turned
Picked
around
it
and
up.
picked it up.
Gotcha.
So, which I mean, I'm sure it did well. I mean, I'm sure it
Oh, well, at
it
one
had a
point-
lot of view.
Yeah, I
like-
remember when I watched it. It was like the #1 trending movie. You know, how it'll tell you what's trending.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was. I mean, I was eager to watch it.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't expecting it to be, and I knew that somebody was coming back to play Sally, so that. I mean, I was excited about that.
Yeah.
But
I do think it's interesting that it's like, you know, they just dropped the V, so it's just Texas Chainsaw
Yeah.
Massacre.
Yeah.
And-
That's what they did with Evil Dead.
Yeah, yeah. And I think I read that somewhere where it said this was also the first one where they put chainsaw as one word and all the other ones are all
That
2.
I think that is true.
yeah.
Yes, because even like whenever you're watching the original and it's, you know, he's reading that information at the beginning, they even say it like it's 2 words. Like
Yeah.
he makes sure he's like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like
Right.
instead of saying chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a very clear.
I will say it did make me laugh
Uh-huh.
going back to sort of kind of towards the end of the movie when when Leatherface is
Chainsaw.
when Leatherface is chasing, I think it's, well, I guess it's Lila and Melody, like through the street or whatever. I was like, all I could think was, that's literally what I look like running from a haunted house, because that's how they that's how they always end them, is with
A chainsaw.
the chainsaw chasing you
Yeah,
out.
y'all wonder why I don't want to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to no haunted house. Y'all, these motherfuckers are like, we bought you a ticket to Nashville Fright Night. Well, you can give somebody
Nashville
else that
Nightmare.
Nashville
Fright
Nightmare. Y'all
Night.
can give somebody else that ticket, because this
You're
one ain't
going. You just don't. We'll get you drunk.
No, I don't give a fuck. I'm not going. Any more trivia, or is that pretty much it?
No, I mean that was basically it.
All
I think
right.
they did say during one of the bus massacre scenes, like during that scene, I
Uh-huh.
guess there's a part where like Leatherface looks in a window and you see like a reflection of his like mother pre and post skinned,
Uh-huh.
which I didn't notice when I watched it, but I don't care enough to go back and look. So
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It might be there.
I think we should mention, though, John Larroquette came back. He did the narration in the first one. He did the narration in the remake. And then he did the narration in the beginning on this one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. I guess I didn't really think about, because I feel like he's got such a, I don't want to say a generic voice, but it sounds like somebody, like a narrator.
Yeah.
So I guess I didn't really
They
think
brought
much
him back
about it.
for
That's
this.
really cool.
Yeah.
Good for him. Well, they got one thing right.
Yeah. One thing.
So before we move on to our final thoughts, you know what it's time for. Don't all speak at once.
Horror Fried Theater.
Horror Fried Theater.
And we have a little special guest today.
Oh, we do. We have a special guest that's going to narrate this for us. Hi, Tamala.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hi.
So, for those that obviously don't know, Tamala is one of my best friends, and she just kind of happened to be here today. So
We have a live studio audience. What are you talking about?
Me and the dogs.
So, are we ready for this? Do you want me to
I'm
kind
never
of
ready.
Michael's
Michael.
never ready for this.
And I have no clue what's going on right now.
Now, wait a minute. Okay, that's fine. Continue.
Oh,
Did you look already?
I saw who I was.
okay.
I haven't
So-
seen any of this.
Well, and Tamala, so disclaimer, Tamala's actually never seen this movie either. So she's literally,
We've all told her.
yeah.
I don't even know what's happening.
So let's go ahead and intro this scene because I'm seeing some interesting faces on both Keith and Michael here. So my first thing, did you?
Oh my God, Michael!
I know that's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, we're going out with a bang for him.
Okay.
apparently.
I like
However, so did anybody get that her name was Mrs. Mack, like in this movie?
No.
No.
I just
I didn't
referred to her
either.
as snatched old lady.
I just thought it was Virginia, or Jenny
Yeah.
is what the sheriff calls her. But on IMDb, they have her listed as Mrs. Mack.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, well, I
Like
guess.
maybe it's Alex Mack's grandmother.
It could
The
be.
Secret World of Alex Mack.
I mean, sure.
Okay, cool.
We'll go with that.
So, Larissa Oinlet.
So what?
What's her name?
I don't know. Who
Oinlet?
cares? She's irrelevant. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
look, y'all. She had one movie role after.
That
Let's not
TV
get carried
series.
away.
No, she was on Third Rock from the Sun.
Who are you guys talking
Larissa
Oleynik.
Leniak or
Oleynik.
whatever.
about? Oh, yeah.
10
She was
Things I
really
Hate
cute.
About You.
Yes, yes.
Oh, she was in the Babysitter's
Can you be
Club.
whelmed?
I
Yeah.
did. I did.
Can you
like,
ever just be whelmed?
I know you can be overwhelmed. I think you can in France.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I do. I did love the Babysitter's Club movie, but I was all about Stacy because I was like, Stacy's a classy bitch. Like she's older, she's got her shit together. She's dating the cute guy. Whatever. She has diabetes.
Oh my god.
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Can we do an episode on the Babysitter's Club?
Oh my god.
All right. So this scene is going to be the scene when Dante and Melody go into the orphanage. We see the older woman who's Jenny. We are also, this goes all the way through the point where they're taking her out of the house.
Oh.
So,
okay.
now the thing is, the characters in this, there is a method behind the madness, Michael. I know that you think that you've got like so many characters right now. So the character Dante is going to be Michael. I'm actually going to be Mel, even
Our
though
favorite.
I hate
Yes.
her.
You love her.
And then Keith is going to be Miss Mac because that
He can do a
just
good
seems-
Southern accent.
Why
I'd
give
rather you call me Jenny, please.
Jenny.
I'm not Miss Mac. I'm Jenny.
Jenny from Harlow, not
Yes,
Harlem?
Jenny. I'm still Jenny from Harlow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, okay, so we have, in this, there's two sheriffs.
Yes.
I gave both of these parts to Michael, and the only reason why I did it was because if we didn't, me and Keith would be having a lot of back and forth, like, conversations with ourselves.
Okay.
And also, if I tried to split, like, those two sheriffs can basically be interchangeable.
It could.
Like-
I got it. It could just be sheriff.
It could literally just be sheriff.
Okay.
So
That's fine.
technically, just think of it that way,
Okay.
Michael. You don't have to change your voice. You ain't got to do anything special.
No, you.
Well,
do.
that wasn't going to happen anyway.
You do. Well, you need a clear distinction between Dante, like he's a young hip guy.
Well, now you do have
and
to
then
have
the
a difference
sheriff.
between Dante and the sheriff.
Oh my god.
Can you
I
put
shot
like a
the
little like
sheriff.
I don't know, like I don't know, like just, sound like a sheriff in a small town.
Sound like a modern influencer.
I'll try my best.
Yeah, okay.
Sound like a pretentious asshole, and then also a hillbilly redneck.
99%
There you go,
of
done.
Instagram sound like them.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
All right, so, and then Tamla is actually going to be the one that narrates all the in-between things this time. So,
You guys get to listen to my voice a
all
lot.
right. So,
Can you hear me there on that microphone with me doing this right here? Okay. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not me. So. Okay.
We're good?
I think
You're
it was
good.
Thunder.
Thunder.
Or
Feel
something.
thunder. Boom, boom.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and go.
After spotting a Confederate flag hanging outside the building that the group plan on renovating and auctioning, Dante and Melody decide to go inside the place. We see a sign saying there's an orphanage and try to take it down through a window. Upon entering, we see the inside is pretty run down and dark, appearing to be vacant. Door creaking open.
I'm going upstairs.
Look at this place. It's weird.
Dante goes upstairs while Mel stays downstairs. Dante heads towards the window where he can see the Confederate flag hanging, and he attempts to reach it through the window. Unsuccessful. He walks around the downstairs and stares at an image, Class of 74 orphanage photo, where we see a boy in the back row of the picture has been scratched out. Dante comes back downstairs to join Mel.
Damn, I couldn't reach it.
Ah, shit. Well, what are we going to do?
Let's just wait for the contractor.
Dante is interrupted by a woman standing in the kitchen attached to the oxygen tank.
What are you doing in my house?
I'm sorry, I didn't realize.
We thought this place was empty.
The woman begins to walk towards them, her oxygen tank wheeling and creaking behind her. She's breathing heavily.
Oh, you're the new neighbors, aren't you?
Um,
I wish I'd known y'all were coming. I'd put on my face.
Mrs. Mack walks between Dante and Mel into the dining room.
Sweet tea?
Dante and Mel look confused but follow her into the dining room. We see that it's actually not in terrible shape. Lots of dishes on the table and very old decor, but overall it doesn't look as run down and dirty as you might think.
I've been running this orphanage for nearly 50 years. I've housed boys and girls in need of a loving home, and troubled teens that needed me to show them mercy for their ways. Please.
ma'am, the bank, reclaimed this property months ago. You're not supposed to be here.
You talking about that whole mix-up with the bank? That's been settled. I paid everything I owed. This house is still our house.
You're wrong. I'm sorry, but
I've got a title that says otherwise.
Do you mind if we see that?
I don't have to show you anything.
that's because you don't have it.
Dante, don't.
What? Was this about my flag? You got me all wrong. I've taken care of many like you over the years. I don't have a problem with hoodlums.
Okay, fuck this.
Dante gets up to leave the room and Mel follows. Mrs. Mack stays seated at the table.
You watch your mouth, boy.
You watch yours.
Where are you going?
Let the cops deal with her. I don't have time for this.
He
I'm-
opens the door to leave.
I'm getting the sheriff.
Mel stands at the door and Mrs. Mack walks into the room.
It's not what you think. That flag belonged to great-granddaddy. It reminds me of him. I've given it much thought. I understand your friend.
I wish I could help you, but you can't be here. There are shelters for the elderly and...
Mrs. Mack turns her oxygen on and starts to get flustered.
Shelter? I'm not going anywhere. I told you this is our house.
Look, you'll be safer in a home and better taken care of. A woman your age shouldn't be on her own.
We hear footsteps on the stairs, and both Mrs. Mack and Mel look at the top of the stairs to see a large male figure standing at the top of the stairs, the sunlight from the window blocked by his large frame.
Oh, baby, I'm fine. I'm all right. Just go back to your room. He's the last of my boys. He needs special care. He doesn't do well outside. You understand? That's why I can't ever leave here.
The front door opens, and the sheriff walks in the house, startled by Mrs. Bell and Mrs. Mack. Dante is behind them.
Jesus Christ, Jenny, what are you still doing here?
What have you done?
Virginia, we told you weeks ago. She ain't listening. Let's get her out of here. We'll talk about it outside. Come on, let's go. I tried.
Hold on. The sheriff goes to... I'm sorry, y'all. The sheriff goes to grab Mrs. Mack by the arm and brings her outside of the house. She's got her oxygen on her face, breathing deeply, grunting and resisting both police officers. She then projectile vomits.
Oh my God! What is happening? We need to call an ambulance.
The male figure from the top of the stairs comes down and walks by Mel straight towards Mrs. Mack. The sheriff doesn't seem fazed by the boy's presence and even seems to know him.
We are the ambulance. It's all right. It's her boy.
The boy proceeds to pick up Mrs. Mack and carries her outside.
Grab the oxygen. Put her in the van. She's having a heart attack.
Mel looks longingly terrified at the scene that just unfolded.
In scene.
Great
Okay,
job,
so
everybody.
it just dawned on
Thank you,
me.
Tamala.
Yes, thank you, Tamala,
Thanks,
for
Tam.
narrating this. It just dawned on me while we were doing this that in the beginning of this, I said, okay, I'm going to give Michael these two sheriffs because it makes it seem like me and Keith would be talking to ourselves a lot. And
Michael-
literally,
talking
that's
to myself.
exactly what you did.
Yeah.
But really, it should have just been Sheriff 1, and you could have just read that.
Yeah, you could
whole
have just read it
thing.
all like one person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, I just want to note that this was not pulled offline. I actually had to type this up
Oh,
myself.
did you?
And it
job.
actually is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Verbatim. Good job.
You said you did type this up?
Yes.
Oh, no, it's very good. You
Yeah.
did an excellent job.
Because, I mean, I had to, like, do all those little inner scenes that Tamala was reading.
Yeah.
I was like, God,
No, I think you did great.
those years of,
I was all into
script
it.
writing and production in college
You did a
really
great
paid
job.
off.
Yeah, it's lightning, y'all. All right, it is time for our, I'm not going to butcher this time, final fucking finger licking thoughts. Boom! Here at Horror Friday, we rate our films using the heat scale of Nashville's famous hot chicken on a scale of 1 to 5, no spice, mild, medium, hot, and Nashville hot. Michael,
Yes.
kick us off.
I think I have to give this a mild.
Okay.
I didn't like almost any of the characters. I didn't like any of the characters. They did Sally fucking dirty.
Yes.
50 years later. And that alone, I feel like it deserves a mild. Yeah.
I agree. Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of tossed around the idea of doing a medium. But
Awfully generous.
I know. And honestly, had I liked the characters more, I may have.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I disliked them so much that, like, I couldn't. All the other stuff that I did like couldn't balance it
Justify
out.
it, yeah.
So, like, I'm going to be a mild for this one.
See, I feel like I was also going back and forth, but I was going back and forth between mild and no spice because I hated the characters. Why bring an iconic character back just to kill her? I hated all the influencers. But I did like the gore. Mm-hmm. The gore is
The
well
kills were
done.
good.
And I liked the character that portrayed Sally. I liked Richter. So it's like I don't want to take away from that.
Yeah.
And I thought the town itself was very cute and visually pleasing. So I will give it a mild as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I liked Richter. I liked the kills. I didn't even mind the story so much. But, like, all the stuff that they tried to do and missed, as far as the sister and her PTSD from her whole thing, and we don't really know anything about.
Well, and they just did it poorly. Like, okay, if she has PTSD, that's one thing, but there's parts where she's like kind of paused, and it's in her head, like, okay, she's reliving this. But you think about it, like, that was totally unnecessary, because anybody in this type of situation would probably freeze and think, what the fuck is happening? So it's like, did we need that backstory? It served no purpose.
Yeah.
Right. I almost feel like if we're going to have Lila's, like, flashbacks, I feel like the movie should have opened with that.
With that massacre, yeah.
And honestly, we should have gotten, like, which I guess we kind of did get introduced to her first out of the main characters, which made it seem like she was going to play a pretty important role, but then it just kind of just didn't make it for me. It's like it was going up the hill, and it never quite got there.
Well, and like, I feel like I wanted to like Lila, but I almost feel like she was super helpless. Like, she didn't really try to do much of anything. You know what I mean?
Until she was
even
forced
at the end,
to.
Melody had to save
she was
her.
Forced to, and I almost even feel like if you wouldn't have killed Ruth off at the beginning and Dante, like, I almost would have rather seen them at the end versus the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because Dante was not nearly as annoying as Melody, and we didn't get to see much of Ruth, but like, to your point, she had at least a little bit of a heart. She
had some
was
compassion.
planning to go to the hospital with Jenny. Like, she felt bad.
Well, and honestly, I love, like, a final girl, and I love, like, a strong female role in these movies anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like either one of them were.
No.
But I do feel like Ruth, had she not been written off as soon as she was, I feel like she actually probably could have been a pretty, like, because I actually like that too. I like that juxtaposition of a girl that's like a pretty girl, but then turns badass. Like, I like that.
Well, and she has a heart.
Right. And I think that would have.
Well, and I also feel like the two sisters, where they really are, like, stopping to deliberate, like, what are we going to do? Like, even though she made some poor choices, like, Ruth actually, like, she was
trying to do something.
Right. How do I get out of this situation?
Yeah.
Well, the other girls were just, let me chill under this bed for a minute. Let me chill under this house for a minute.
Well, I think they were, I mean, of course, we don't know much about Ruth at all. Shit, we didn't even know her name.
Dante's partner.
Yeah, but, like, I kind of, if you think about these girls, Lila and Melody, were probably raised in a very spoiled, silver spoon-fed home. They don't know how to handle any kind of a situation like that. And I didn't really get that stuck-up vibe from Ruth.
No. She was. It's almost like she was just part of the mix because she was Dante's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, Dante and Melody, whatever, had their thing going on, and Ruth was just kind of there, like Lila.
I mean, shit, in the beginning, I thought Dante and Melody were a couple.
They were. Oh, Melody.
Oh, they did kind of come off that way, yeah.
Yeah,
they
like,
did.
I thought that, like, when I first started watching, I was like, oh, okay, so they're like a
couple.
Well, she's a bitch, so I don't know.
Honestly, I would have almost, if you're going to keep Lila, have Lila, like, the true final girl, that's fine, but I would have rather seen her, like, did all that with Ruth. I think it's safe to say we all really, really, really disliked Melody.
Yeah.
I thought she was really pretty, and that's about all I can say positive about her.
Also, I know that this is probably the most final thoughts we've ever had on a movie.
I know.
But, like, I do just want to say, with this being our last episode, I'm a little disappointed that we ended this season on such a movie that we felt so negatively about.
Yes. So we went chronologically, of course, because I'm OCD, and so there's got to be some sort of order. But the good news is, we do have a wrap-up party before the end of the season, where we'll kind of talk about, like, some of our favorite movies, some of the ones that we liked the least. We're going to give out some Horror Fried awards, so somebody's going to win the golden fried chicken statue, okay? So we're going to be doing that next. So that'll record at the end of the season. And then we're also going to be doing something really fun for Halloween, which we'll talk more about during the wrap-up party, but it's going to be our own little Southern...
TBA.
Yeah, Southern twist on the 31 days of Halloween, which is going to be really fun. So, anything else before we sign off?
I don't.
No?
No? All right. Well, thanks again for joining us, Tamala. We appreciate
Yes, thank you.
And thank you, everyone, for listening. If you like what you hear, please like, subscribe, and rate the Horror Fried Podcast. Let me say that again. Please rate the Horror Fried Podcast and catch up on all of our previous episodes on your favorite streaming services. Links are available on our Instagram page. Be sure to join us next time for that Season 1 wrap party. We're going to have a lot of fun. Now it's time to hit the road. Until next time, remember, there's not a pot too crooked. The lid won't fit. Bye.
I've waited 50 years.
Bye bye.
Bye.